Hey guys, welcome back. It is Monday, June 23rd, and we got a formal 8K from Wolfspeed, ticker WOLF today, announcing that they had entered a restructuring plan and plan to file Chapter 11 no later than July 1st. 2025. About a month ago, I did a video on Wolf. It was trading 100% higher than where it is today. Just letting you guys know that, this was probably going to be the expected outcome for Wolfspeed to enter a restructuring deal and to go through the Chapter 11 reorganization process, that the business was not going to shut down, but that the debt holders were going to be given equity in the company, which would be likely substantially dilutive to anybody holding common stock. And that is why we saw today on the news that Wolfspeed was entering this formal restructuring deal. We saw the equity price have a major drop down to a low today of 55 cents. Closing at 61 cents on the day. Now, we really want to know, where do we go from here? Because the 8K does talk about a potential payout between 3 and 5% of the new issued equity, hopefully, to the retail shareholders. What's going to be left after the restructuring, and what could common stockholders potentially receive in this new version of Wolfspeed that we'll probably see hit the market in September, October timeframe of 2025. We're going to talk about all of that the best I can in this video. So if that is of interest to you, stick around. Let's get right into it. Always remember, guys, when you're attempting to trade or speculate in a very risky play like this, to get your information directly from the company, not from social media. Let's be real, you've seen it over the last month. All of the people on social media telling you this was never going to happen. Chapter 11 would never happen. Wolfspeed would not allow it. Renesas would not allow it. The market was just trying to scare you. You guys have heard that story before. The shorts are just trying to scare us. As I went over with you a month ago, the company has given every signal in filings and press releases that a reorganization was likely to happen, and that it was probably going to be a prepackaged Chapter 11 for efficiency and speed purposes, to get the company back on a solid footing and get all of this behind them. Let's go through a couple of the details then from the company's press release before we get into the more speculative part about what is going to be left over for equity holders today. I read through the Wolfspeed filing this morning. It is hundreds of pages and probably doesn't make a lot of sense unless you are a bankruptcy attorney, but we can pull some general concepts from the press release here. Let's talk about what is important. In yellow at the top, this is a proposed prepackaged Chapter 11. In green, the bullet point, it says that the proposed plan would give Wolfspeed a 70% reduction in total debt and a 60% reduction in its annual cash interest expense, something that is hampering the company right now, the high amount of interest expense that they have to pay relative to their expected income. Further details on that bullet point down in the paragraph let us know that that will be approximately a $4.6 billion reduction in total debt. That debt doesn't just go away. Those lenders that hold that debt are going to be given equity in the new company that emerges after the Chapter 11 process. As I told you a month ago, nothing comes for free. And the reason that, the common stockholders today are likely to get squashed is because the company will be recapitalized. The debt will be given in the form of new equity to the debt holders, and retail will get whatever is left. Whatever is left is this orange bullet point here, the second one. Existing equity holders, if you hold Wolf right now, are expected to receive between 3 and 5% of the new common equity. When will this happen? They are, as we talked about, for purposes of speed, doing a prepackaged Chapter 11 in agreement with key lenders. to expedite the process. And as it says in blue here, they expect it to be finished by the end of the third quarter this year, just several months from now. The common question would be, how is the company going to survive after this Chapter 11? Well, after reducing the debt off the balance sheet and reducing the interest expense, according to supporting documents in today's filings and the purple bullet point that I have here, Wolfspeed is expecting to be fully funded through cash flow generation after the Chapter 11 process is done and this restructuring is completed. That is still TBD, of course, nothing is for sure, but that is their expectation and how they got the key lenders to agree to the restructuring. Drilling down into a little more detail further in this press release about key terms, in yellow it says that the RSA contemplates an exchange of $5.2 billion of existing convertible notes and Renesas existing loan for $500 million of new notes and 95% of the common equity. In other words, all of the debt is going to be repackaged, wiped off the books, and given to the lien holders in the form of new shares in the new structure company that comes out after Q3 2025. The debt holders will get the vast majority of the new shares. Most of the common stock of the new emerging entity is going to be given to today's debt holders. What is left over in green will go to the current common stockholders. So as it says, the existing equity, ticker Wolf, any shares that you have, will be canceled, and your existing equity position will receive a pro rata share of between 3 and 5% of the new common equity. The variance between 3 and 5% depends on some potential future events that happen during the bankruptcy process. So that has not been finalized yet, what the payout to common will be. I should probably add, for safety, there is no guarantee of a 3 to 5% payout because we still have to go through the Chapter 11 process, but these are the proposed terms, what we are talking about here, and we will have to monitor the next several months the course of events. And hopefully, if you're a common equity holder right now and you held all the way through to today and you plan on holding all the way through the restructuring, hopefully you will get a payout between 3 and 5% of the new common equity. Now, what does that mean exactly, though? This is where we get into the speculative part. So again, I'm not a bankruptcy attorney and the bankruptcy process has not been finalized. So now we're going to just speculate a little bit. If you plan to hold, what could you potentially receive? If we look at the market cap of Wolfspeed prior to today's news, it was around $110 million. And as of right now, today's close on Monday, the market cap is around $95 million. We have to look at the debt load of the company prior to the reorganization and what debt the company is going to have after the reorganization. And we need to do some computations about enterprise value after the reorganization and what sort of multiple the plan administrator or the court process is going to assign to the value of the new entity. What we do know is that in May of 2025, Wolfspeed estimated that their 2026 revenue would be around $850 million. And we know that in this industry, that companies are often given a multiple valuation of 3 to 4x their revenue. So that would value the enterprise value of Wolfspeed between $2.5 and $3.5 billion. The company will still have some debt though. So from that enterprise value, we need to subtract the net debt. We get a then equity value remaining after net debt is subtracted of between $1.67 billion and $2.5 billion. And retail common stockholders would be expected to get between 3 and 5% of that. So between $50 million to $125 million. How does that break down to a payout in terms of dollars per share? If we take that equity allocation between 3 and 5%, between $50 and $125 million, and then divide it by a theoretical new share count of 125 million shares, very close to what the current share count is, we would get a potential payout, theoretically under this example, to common stockholders today in the new stock after the Chapter 11, somewhere between 40 cents per share and $1 a share. Is this exactly what is going to happen? Hey, I don't know. This is a theoretical exercise to show you the kind of math that is going to be done during the bankruptcy process. So only use this as a general guideline, certainly not a guarantee of an outcome. Things that could change the outcome would include: what is the enterprise value calculated at during the Chapter 11 process? What is the equity value calculated at? Are the equity holders today going to get 3% or 5%? What is the new share count in the new entity going to be? And what additional potential dilution issues might come up during the bankruptcy process, including convertible notes and any employee stock issuance for compensation? A lot of things to think about, a lot of moving parts here. There are no certainties, but this kind of gives you a rough framework to understand, why the price is around 60 cents right now, very much in the middle of this range that I calculated this morning, between 40 cents and $1. And, it's up to you to roll the dice. There is also a very minute possibility that it could be zero, but I'm not banking on that. I think that you probably will get between 3 and 5%, but the actual outcome of what that is going to mean to you is going to vary depending on what happens during the Chapter 11 process. So up to you guys to do your own math, make your own best choices, and good luck to you in the Chapter 11 process. We will report on it here on the channel if there is any new meaningful news, but this is the news we have of today. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you're stuck in Wolf or deciding to hold all the way through and see what happens, roll the dice. Good luck to you if you are. I have no position in Wolf, but I do like following bankruptcy plays, not only to learn, but to monitor the social media reaction. Who is being realistic about this play, and who is being completely unrealistic, and who is just trapped at this point and hoping for the best? If you're in that final bucket, again, I wish you luck. If you have any questions or comments, drop them for me down below. I am Tony DeNaro, and I will see you on the next video.